Hello and welcome to HIV Talk Show. I'm your host, Alton Condra, and this is our wonderful esteemed guest, Mark Douglas from My Brothaz H.O.M.E. Incorporated.
Welcome to Savannah.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's beautiful down here.
Yeah, it's been very nice weather for the last few days, and we're just grateful that you all have taken the opportunity to come visit us and to be a part of this movement down here in Savannah.
Well, thank you so much. Now, tell us about My Brothaz H.O.M.E.
My Brothaz H.O.M.E. is a nonprofit, community-based organization based right here in Savannah, Georgia. I'm one of the co-founders. We've been around since March of 2000. It's our primary focus is primary prevention education, as well as we provide support services for people that are living with HIV or AIDS, and we do rapid HIV testing. But our whole mission is prevention and education to help in the movement to prevent the further transmission of HIV/AIDS cases in this area.
Well, now, is there a lot of HIV down in Savannah, Georgia, down here, and compared to Atlanta, New York, LA, those places?
Well, you know, Georgia ranks 8th in the country as of through the end of December of 2008. So, and in terms of here in Georgia, Savannah has the second highest number of reported HIV/AIDS cases outside the Atlanta area as of December of 2008. So you have the Atlanta area that has the highest number of cases, reported cases. Then you have Augusta, which is Richmond and Columbia counties, and then Savannah, which is Chatham County, and our 7 county surrounding counties. So we have it's pretty serious in our community in terms of reported HIV/AIDS cases, and those are cumulative HIV/AIDS cases too.
So, Mark, tell me a little bit about the history of the program.
Yeah, My Brothaz H.O.M.E. again is a nonprofit community-based organization. HOME is an acronym meaning Helping Our Men Excel. It started out back in March of 2000 when myself and 6 of my friends got together after meeting Pandora Singleton, who was introduced to was introduced by way of Rudy Karn in Atlanta with the National AIDS Education Service for Minorities. Well, the two of them met, and because of some capacity building dollars that he had received to help build the capacity of organizations, grassroots organizations in the state of Georgia, from pretty much around the country, to get involved with HIV prevention. So after meeting Pandora and Rudy Karn, we came together, we organized here locally in Savannah to basically come up with an organization to do prevention targeting, at the time, minority men. The focus was focused on men at the time because of the epidemic. Over the years, however, we have evolved from serving men, we also serve women. We are grassroots, very small in size, but very big in heart, Alton, because we realize that this movement is not about restricted to gender, race, sexuality, sexual orientation. It is about risk behavior.
So now, you were telling me a story earlier. You were working, you got transferred down here to Savannah, and then to do this work, you've actually left your full-time job and then came here. That was a remarkable story. Can you tell that story?
That did happen. We again, we started out in early 2000, and I was going to volunteer or just kind of do some weekend work or some time during the week after hours. And it led from me just stepping out on faith, and we started applying for funding. We applied for our 501c3, then we started applying for grants and funding opportunities, and we were successful in our monies, in our applications. We got the funding, so it kind of kicked off so fast until I had to make a decision, because I was taking so much time away from my job with the Social Security Disability Office. I had to make a decision, so I quit my job on December 11, 2001. I submitted my resignation, and from there, as of January 1, 2002, I started full-time with the organization with myself and one other person. And from that point on, we've grown from myself and one other person to numerous others that are involved in this movement that is doing prevention work in this Savannah area. And also, too, most recently, we've expanded to the Augusta office, to the Augusta area, to do work over there, too.
So I think that is so wonderful. I mean, that had to be frightening, but has it been rewarding? I mean, the fact that you did all that, I mean, not many people have the courage to do that. So that's wonderful. But
just
explain.
Stepping out on faith, Alton, it was nothing about me. It was just it was a need here. And I believe that we were being used by God, and I'm very spiritual in my work, in my life. And that we just followed, His direction and walked and stepped out on faith. And from that point on, we've been successful in continuing the movement here. So I was scared. I must admit, I didn't know how I was going to live and how I was going to survive, pay the rent, pay the mortgage, and do all I need to do. But ever since then, I've been able to do what I have to do, and been blessed even more to help so many people around in this state, in this area, and throughout this great country that doing this work.
So you serve primarily men.
We serve anybody that walks in the door. Men, women, young, old, brown, blue, black, white, Native American, Latino, Hispanic, whomever that walks in the door, we're able to serve them. But over the years, since March of 2000, we've primarily served minorities, particularly African American men. When the Project Azuka closed in 2005, and that agency focused on women and children, we picked up a lot of those female clients. So we serve about 75% male to 25% male female ratio. So it's really phenomenal. When you hear My Brothaz H.O.M.E, you think of men only, and you think of a housing component. But in fact, we serve men and women, and we actually don't have a housing component yet. We actually refer out to those people who need housing services to a local partner here in Savannah. But we serve anybody that walks in the door, but particularly over the years it has been men, and particularly more so a lot of gay and bisexual men of color. But HIV/AIDS, Alton, again, has nothing to do with, in terms of, it has nothing to do with labels. It has everything to do with behaviors. So I want to make sure that the audience understands that HIV could care less about whether you're gay, straight, bisexual, what have you. It is all about if you've ever taken that risk in terms of unprotected sex or sharing needles or syringes with someone of an unknown HIV status.
And I think that's a very good point to make. It doesn't discriminate. It comes after us all.
Right.
And so now, what services do your organization provide?
Our mission is to reduce the number of new infections among men and their partners by providing culturally sensitive HIV prevention education and supportive services regardless of sexual orientation. And we accomplish that mission by providing, again, primary prevention education, that is HIV prevention education, health education, risk reduction, in terms of one-on-one, or we can do group classes. We also do rapid HIV testing, where a person can come in and learn of his or her HIV status within 20-25 minutes. And then, of course, we do supportive services for people who are already living with HIV/AIDS and who may need help in terms of emergency financial assistance, clothing assistance, emergency rental assistance, utility assistance. We have support groups for men, women, and transgenders. And we also do what we call targeted outreach, where we're in the community. We want to make sure that we are in the community providing that education and outreach to people who may not want or feel comfortable with coming into our office Monday through Saturday.
So when you say culturally sensitive, explain to me, what's culturally sensitive?
Culturally sensitive, Alton, is in terms of, it's not, people many times you hear that culturally term, that culturally responsive or culturally relevant or culturally competent term. It's really more so about understanding the values and the attitudes, the language, the ways, beliefs of the population in which you're working with. And that is important, and it doesn't always deal with race. You have to know the population you're working with, in terms of the likes, the dislikes, the ways they live, what's good, what's bad. And that is important because a lot of people do not want, or sometimes don't often access program and services in certain communities and throughout this country because they don't feel as though the programs are culturally attuned or culturally are competent or relevant to their lives, to their situation, to their circumstances. And we have to be very sensitive to the needs around sexuality, sexual orientation, HIV/AIDS, people who are living with HIV/AIDS. Those are some of the values and beliefs that we have to be cognizant about or culturally in tune with when that person walks into your door to be serviced. But again, we're still in the South, and doing HIV prevention outside of an EMA or outside the eligible metropolitan area can be challenging, can be difficult. But we get around that by making sure that we provide the education. Of course, we dispel the myths, and we address some of those conservative values and feelings of conformity, and by just keeping it real and just making sure people have access to cutting edge information. And this forum here at HIVtalkshow.com affords the world, not just here in our community in Savannah, the opportunity to really get the facts. And I'm thankful that you're here. You've allowed this to happen.
Thank you.